Welcome to TuneSpec. This is First Drive. I'm in Puerto Rico and today I'm reviewing a 2010 Mini Cooper S. So this is a 2010 Mini Cooper S. It's powered by a 4-cylinder 1.6 turbocharged engine, and it makes about 172 horsepower, which in this car doesn't sound like much, but since this car only weighs 2680, so 2,600 pounds, almost 2,700 pounds, it feels pretty fast. Now the automatic version of this vehicle weighs a little bit more. I think it's 2855. Now this car is a fairly small car. It's not very big. I like to sit very low and back, so I'm very comfortable right now. But as you can see in the back seat, you can barely fit somebody in it when I'm driving fully comfortable. So it's a very tight car to sit 4 people. To sit 2, it's very comfortable. The trunk, it's very small, it's very limited. However, you're able to put the seats down all the way flat if you needed to carry something, but you lose the back seat. So it's a very comfortable car for 2 people, and you know, trunk is extremely limited. Trunk is very limited. Now the Mini Cooper S doesn't come with a spare tire. The spare tire usually sits underneath the trunk, and in the Mini Cooper S, the exhaust of the car goes right through the middle, so you don't have enough room to put the spare tire. So this car does not have a spare tire. This is a very snappy, very fun to drive car. Since it's front-wheel drive, you don't have to worry about the back end kicking out. However, this differential is not as well built as the JCW of the later generation of this car. This is an R-56. The later models, I drove a 2016 JCW, and in that vehicle, you know, from a stop you can floor it and the car just goes straight. It feels like an all-wheel drive car. Now this car doesn't have that. This car, it grips really well, but you can feel the steering wheel pulling left and right, fighting for grip. So if you're not used to that, you might think you're losing control, but that's just the steering wheel fighting for traction. So as I'm driving fast, you know, aggressive from a dig, from a stop. Let me show you real quick here. Especially if I'm going from a stop and I'm, you know, going around a curve, you can feel it fighting. Right now the road is a little wet, but let me see if I can show you. See, it pulled left. See, that's the car. So you kind of like have to let it do it, hold on to it, and try to aim it better. But it's not losing control. you just feel the tires pulling you either left or right, depending on which tire it's losing grip. So that's one thing I noticed about this car. Hondas have that a lot. The Hondas, you know, old Hondas, 90s Hondas, they just spin. So this one, instead of spinning, it just throws power to the other tire, so it grips better, so you feel that pulling. But it's a very fun car to drive. I enjoy driving this car, especially on stick shift. I used to have 2008, I believe, Mini Cooper S, same as this one, but it was an automatic. Now it was just as fast, but it was not as fun. We sold our car. I didn't care for it really. This car, I could see myself driving for a while. It's a very fun car, and since it's turbo, it's very tunable. A lot of people, you know, they have intake exhaust and, you know, tunes and things that you can just add power, add sound, and it just makes the drive more enjoyable, at least for me. So it's a very enjoyable car to drive. Now this car, within 5 minutes of me getting in this car, I was able to downshift and rev match fairly easily. So it's a very easy to drive car. This car comes with a 6-speed manual transmission, and it's very easy. It's very easy to get comfortable with driving and rev matching. Like I said, in 5 minutes I was rev matching in this car. It's very easy and comfortable to drive. Now this car is turbo, so when you do floor it above 35, if I had to guess, it goes, and it goes very fast. So you have to be aware, you know, of when the turbo peaks are. Started to rain, so right now I don't have a lot of grip in this road, so I have to be a bit more careful. Now this car doesn't come with this roof rack. My uncle bought it like that, so that's an OEM roof rack with the metal rack. It's aftermarket, and they just made it, you know, put them together. But this car usually doesn't come with that. I'm just not gonna take it off for the purpose of the video because it's my uncle's car. Being that the car is so light, it doesn't feel sluggish at all. It has plenty of power to go up hills and things like that. Where my mom lives, it's a pretty uphill, and this car has no issues pulling it. You know, with or without passengers. At one point it was my mom, my wife, and my daughter, and, you know, the trunk full of stuff, and the car was just pulling up without having any issues. So right now I'm about to go up a very steep hill around my neighborhood, so you guys can see. First gear. Now I'm not flooring it because of grip. The road is wet, so I don't want to fight for grip. Okay, so first thing I noticed about this car is it has like a brake assist, like a hill assist for stick shift. So if you put it in first gear and you let go of the brake, it takes about 3 seconds, and then it starts rolling backwards. So it gives you a second to, you know, catch up and accelerate it before it starts rolling backwards. The only thing that cuts it off is accelerating. So if I let go of the brakes and accelerate, it's rolling backwards. But you do have a second to play with the clutch and just so you don't roll backwards. Now in Puerto Rico, that's very good because we have very steep hills. So that's the first thing I noticed while driving this car. Fuel economy in this car, it's 34 miles per gallon highway and 26 city. So it's a very economical car when you don't drive it very fast. Fuel economy in this car is great. The second thing I noticed with this car, and it's something that it's the only thing I don't like about this car, is the interior. The interior in this car, it feels a little bit childish, a little girly, because it's very round, so it's very odd looking, and it just feels like Mickey Mouse designed this car. There's a lot of round, and so that's the only thing I never liked about this car. I've driven about 3 Mini Coopers, and they all have the same interior, and I just never liked the interior. The speedometer's in the middle, the RPMs are where the cluster usually sits, so it's very odd, and you know, it takes a minute to get used to. I do not like the radio in this car, mainly because it has no Bluetooth. So the Bluetooth in this vehicle, it's only for phone calls. So it's only for calls. You're not able to play music through your Bluetooth in your radio. They sell an attachment that you can plug underneath the toggle switches, and you can connect it, and you can play Bluetooth through your auxiliary cord. So they sell something, but the car itself doesn't come with something like that. So I've always had issues with things like that. My other Mini Cooper, the automatic, it did have a sunroof, and it's a very nice sunroof. This one is hardtop, so you don't have that option. But I do like the sunroof in these vehicles. I do like sunroofs in cars. But overall, the interior, it's fairly normal, except for the round, gauges, speedometer, tachometer, and you know, I just don't like the way they look. They feel a little bit childish. Other than that, I'm okay with the car. Now, if you can overlook the size of this car, the lack of power in comparison to a V8, it's a very fun car to drive. Like here in Puerto Rico, I've enjoyed driving this car because it's so snappy, small, and it feels pretty fast. So it's very fun to drive. I've enjoyed driving this car in these small roads. So I could see myself owning another one of these. I don't know if you can hear the engine. You can barely hear it because it's everything stock, intake and exhaust. So there's not a lot of noise. Let's do a pull from stop. I'm not gonna rev it hard or nothing. It's my uncle's car. It feels fast enough. It feels plenty fast. See, that was second gear on a slight uphill, and it's wet, and you do see the steering wheel pulling left and right. That's what I mean, is you feel it fighting for grip. So this is a car that it's very hard to make it lose control because it's front wheel drive, but you need to hold on to the steering wheel always when you're either on wet road or when you're flooring it, because it pulls left and right depending on how the road is. fighting for grip. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it's not perfected yet, so that's what you feel. So that's what I think about this car. I enjoy driving this car. I barely used it, during the week, but whenever I leave the house, I always grab it. My mom has a vehicle. It's a Ford Escape, and I've always tried to grab this one because it's just more fun. It's more uncomfortable. I'm with my wife and daughter, so it's not very comfortable, but I enjoy driving it so much more that I'd rather drive this car and having to deal with an uncomfortable seating position. That way I can actually drive it. I hope you guys like this type of content. I'm gonna keep making car repairs on my Corollas, my FRS. My FRS engine just blew, so I don't know when, but I'll be engine swapping that, hopefully with a 1JZ. I don't know when, but that's the plan. And I'm gonna keep working on the Corolla and things like that. So I'm gonna keep uploading that type of content, but I'm trying to do other content that I can, do on a daily basis, because working on the cars is very expensive. So I'm not gonna be able to make that much content on car upgrades and repairs, because there's a lot of money involved. So that's why I'm trying to do this car reviews too, just so I can have some fun and provide more content for you guys. If you guys like this type of content, please like and subscribe so I can keep making videos like this. Thank you guys for your support. Thank you guys for watching.